What is up, New World? Welcome back to the channel that helps animals. My name is Omni, and today we will be answering a question that I hear quite a bit in New World. What is the fastest way to level up weapons in New World? If you've spent any time at all searching on how to get the fastest New World weapon experience on YouTube, you've probably run across a lot of videos that are essentially doing and saying the same thing. Find a group of people, kill elites. They'll all generally run through a few of their favorite locations and then basically say the same thing, but don't really bother explaining why or how this is the best method. Nor do they compare it to any solo spots, generally speaking, in some of the other videos we've seen. Personally, I think you deserve better content. So, I went out and spent the day testing every solo spot I could find in a video that seemed legit anyway, collected data in the form of experience per minute, and then compared that to data from the elite spots everyone is familiar with. The results were interesting. Before I get into it, put your favorite spot in the comments below. I did test a bunch of others that didn't make the video, but I feel like I missed a few, so if I missed yours, let me know below. Before we get started, I want to point out the data collected here is far from perfect, but it should provide a relatively accurate representation of experience gained in a normal game session within a certain margin of error for most areas. All of this information was gathered at level 60, where the weapon XP scales differently. You'll experience different results if you're lower. I will have some suggestions for lower levels at the end of the video. Full disclosure, I am a Lifestaff main using an Ice Gauntlet, so my damage and time to kill is not exactly great compared to anyone with attributes that actually help the weapons they're using. You should increase these numbers based on your weapon level, attribute distribution, and the efficacy of your AoE abilities. Also, I wanted a practical measurement, so I stopped to loot chests and containers and harvest resources here and there every now and again. Yes, this alters the value slightly from site to site, but are you really going to leave all that juicy sandpaper laying around? Probably not. If you're short-sighted, you certainly could increase these numbers simply by focusing on only the weapon XP, but that's inadvisable for the long term. We'll start with some of the worst solo spots I found videos on. The absolute worst spot I found a video on was called Brigand's Bastion. There's certainly a lot of mobs here to kill, so I understand why they tried it, but they're just not worth enough weapon XP, and they aren't in a tight enough area to make it worth farming. This one got about 270 weapon XP per minute. The next solo spot I found was one you've probably all tried, and that's Boar's Home. I can't help but wonder what this place would have been like in experience per minute prior to the nerf, but as of the time of this video, it's not worth wasting your time here because this area only netted about 330 XP per minute. It's worth mentioning that if you need to also farm thick hide, then of course this spot significantly increases in value, but for strictly weapon XP, the spawn rate nerf has really made this spot obsolete. Next up was Lamoni's video. I thought for sure that this spot was going to be better, just watching the loop and how closely the camps were together, but sadly this one underperformed compared to two others and brought in just around 400 XP per minute. So it's not bad, but there are better spots. Next is a spot that you'll need to be higher level to make work, but I wanted to test it in the interest of having a variety of data. This particular individual appears to have maxed all of their weapons in this spot, and while they don't really provide any concrete numbers beyond just stating that they get this amount without actually showing it, they clearly spent a lot of time here and memorized every single optimal pull on the upper and lower level. I was only able to squeeze about 430 XP per minute out of this location, running both the top and bottom at the same time, but also I didn't really spend enough time to memorize the route either, since it's kind of convoluted and the mobs are higher level. It required a lot more effort than the other spots. Let's move on to the best that I found that has non-elite mobs. This spot is not far from Windsward and is also surrounded by harvesting materials as well. The mobs respawn extremely fast, and there were times when I had two other solo players in the area, yet we couldn't really kill things fast enough to really get in each other's way. Things die very quickly here as well. You can probably run this spot in your sleep if you're 60. In this area, I was able to get around 470 XP per minute, which was the best I could find for non-elite areas. Considering there's about 98,000 weapon experience necessary to max each weapon to 20, you could get a weapon from 1 to 20 here in about 3.5 hours, which is not too bad. So, after figuring out what the best spots were for me, this gave me a number to compare to the elite group areas. My hope here was that I would find an easy solo spot that could compete with group spots, and unfortunately I wasn't really able to do that. Pretty much every group spot you've seen in the videos will yield a higher amount of weapon experience per minute, provided you can kill the monsters within a reasonable period of time, of course. Even the low-level spots run solo will typically get better weapon experience. Dead Man's Cove in the south of Monarch's Bluffs, for example, netted me over 500 XP per minute, which only represents an increase of around 10% above the best solo spot, but if you stretch that over 20 weapon levels, that means a lot. It's 20 minutes less grinding. The problem with generating numbers for all these spots is that groups are going to be different in both composition and levels, so one spot which may be better for one group could be worse for another. Whether or not you're looking for loot also kind of muddies the water. Generally speaking, better weapon XP yield comes from killing mobs at least 5 levels lower than you, and sometimes even more in the case of elites depending on your group. With the way gear score works and the way the high watermark system works in this game, you're not going to get decent equipment drops from mobs that are ideal for grinding weapon experience. That's just a fact. But that's a topic for an entirely separate video. Suffice to say, you'll need to weigh a variety of factors when determining the best elite farming area for you. You can absolutely gain more weapon experience at 60 at the time of this video than you would while you're a lower level. It is more efficient to level weapons once you're 60, but if you're stuck after an attribute or weapon switch, then you don't really have much of a choice. The point is, if possible, to wait until after you're 60 to really go at weapon mastery hard. If you're stuck doing it before 60, then there are a few things to keep in mind. You need to be killing things fast to get the best weapon mastery experience in New World. Generally, you want to be fighting things that are at least 5 levels lower than you and in high concentrations. This is suboptimal for gathering loot, obviously, most of the time, but it is the fastest way. If the monotony starts to get to you, run an expedition to break from the grind. Expeditions are both fun, and they give decent amounts of weapon experience. Chances are if you're not 60, you need to run them for gear and quests anyway. If you're leveling a specific weapon, try your best not to switch away from the weapon unless it's so low or so slow that you just can't kill things effectively without using your main weapon half the time. The weapon experience is halved when you switch weapons, so this really just impedes your progress if you're doing it with regularity. Other than that, it really just boils down to selecting builds that fit your method at the time and sheer determination to get the job done. The fastest way to level weapons really can seem like more of a chore than part of the game, so try to relax and don't forget to try to have fun during the process. Well, that about wraps it up. If you've made it this far, be sure you comment and sub. Let me know what you think. At every major subscription interval, we make donations to local animal shelters. Next up is 1,000. If you're looking for a guild, we're operating on Brazur in the US East region. You'll find a link to our Discord below. I really hope you found the video helpful, and I wish you the best of luck out there. Until next time.